What is happening, guys? GT5 Game 101 here, and welcome to my review for the 2013 or 14 what we would call it. But anyway, Season 3 of the Division 1 World Championship for the Front Row Racing League at China, the third round. Now, so far I've had a pretty terrible season, scoring no points in Australia and Malaysia. I'm hoping for a different race here. So already starting in 6th place as lights out, and away we go now. And we're starting in 6th place. Jamie James is on the left of me on 5th place. Had a pretty good start, overtaking him as we go into the rather long first, second, third complex. So the trick here is to go around the inside of everyone, literally everyone, and I was momentarily 3rd place as we go around the 3rd corner, going in the outside. I was getting tapped a little bit from behind, but I let them off, didn't really affect me much. Lost 1 place from Dan Spiller 986, who had pretty good position in the inside of that corner. And this bit I did lock it, well, I didn't really lock up, but I broke a bit late on the steel bike just like Dan, but luckily I wasn't as bad as Dan, so I sort of did manage to catch up with him. But then this long left and right hand, I was sort of trying to stay behind him because I knew it'd be way too risky trying to have a move, because to be honest, me and him do have a bit of history of causing crashes. And yeah, as you can see that I just pushed him right, and by the way, I caused all the crashes by him. So I lost 2 places because of that. Tino, aka Nostidite, and Rigstar, my new teammate for this season. So I'm going around the inside, and I did get hit by Welshie, aka Hamza #1 fan, or I'll call him Welshie. And Jamie James 16 is going the outside of me. He's trying to anyway, but I have got the better racing line, and I try to go in, just skipping the inside of the corner. But anyway, we're on to the longest straight in Formula 1. He is slipstreaming me. He's having a wee look as we go into the very heavy braking zone off the turn right hairpin. I'll go wide a little bit, just allowing Jamie James a bit more space in that corner, but I had a bit more traction than him, and so he wouldn't be able to overtake me. Ran a little bit wide, didn't really compromise my position there. As we start lap 2 now, so far it's turning out to be a very epic and very interesting race for me. And this becomes one of my favourite corners in Formula 1, and I absolutely nailed that, because I gained quite a lot of time from those 3 cars ahead of me. So I'm going to try and look for a little bit of an overtaking here. Could I overtake Dan Spiller 1986 as we go into sector 2 now in lap 2? Well, only time will tell. And it looks like Tino and Vix had a bit of contact there into sector 2. And it's with this long left and right hander. Dan did go a bit wide, but usually turning late, you could have better traction on the exit. But as we go into, and there has been a pretty big crash there. Tino got spun out by my teammate Vixstar, which gained me 4th place. But we still have quite a bit of pressure from Jamie James 16. He's going to have another go at me on this long straight. So he's aiming for the inside. I give him room on the inside. I start shifting a bit too much, because I don't want to spin my rear tires. And we're going side by side now as we on the, look at that, literally wheel to wheel racing, brilliant stuff. As we are now braking on the right hand hairpin. A bit of lag there, I don't really know what happened. And I go wide, and there goes Sales right past me. And there wasn't really that much battles going on after that. I mean, look at that, Cone of Death nearly spun me off there. So yeah, I was pretty much 5th for the first stint. And as we now skip on to lap 8, since I am just pitted for the option tires. Usually I go for a different strategy. Usually I start on the primes and do 2 prime stints and then an option. Or if I'm doing a 2-stopper, then I do one prime. Or if I do 2-stopper, I do 2 prime stints and 1 option. Anyway, but as we go, I'm overtaking Kieran, one of the admin of Front Row Racing, on the surfboard as we go into the DRS. And I managed to make that move perfectly. Usually I go wide in that corner if I were overtaking someone, but I knew that he would go for the undercut on the inside, so I made sure that I stayed on the inside as well. And this stint was pretty crucial for me, to be honest, because you see that as Kudos and Lotus is in the pits, and we're going out the pits now. So this stint was pretty crucial for me because I need to stay ahead of Dan Spiller 1986. The team gave me the rule that I must stay ahead of Dan, because I think he's going to be my main rival for the season. So I decided to change my strategy. As I said at the start, I have to make sure that I clear this traffic, because I think that if I was on the primes, then I would not be able to clear the traffic as easily as this. So I went on the options and hoping I can clear this traffic as quickly as possible before my options start to wear out and reach the cliff. The cliff is basically where there's a dramatic loss of tyre life and tyre performance. That's literally like driving on ice. So we are going now into sector 3, not that far behind Wilshere, but he is struggling in these old tyres. I'm on new tyres. Well, I think he's on the primes and I'm on the option. We skip on to lap 10. As I go a little bit right, but he is struggling on these prime tyres. As we go into turn 3, and I've gained quite a lot from him in that sector, of that section of the track. He has a little bit more traction, which is quite surprising since he's on the primes and I'm on the options. These options are at least now 2 laps old. Pitted on the 8th lap. Bookie a little bit early there, surprisingly. Don't really know why I did that, but which meant I did lose a little bit of time ahead of Wilshere, or behind Wilshere. So we're going around this right hander, gaining tiny bits here and there on the traction zones, but I think I was struggling a bit of traction because I'm quite heavy on the right foot on the throttle pedal. But I'm having a wee look on the inside of Wilshere, and that's a pretty good tip. And as he goes wide, and I try and go around the outside of the right hander, long right hander onto this longest straight in Formula 1, and I managed to make that perfectly. Now that's a pretty good tip actually. If you are needing the braking zone of one of the corners on the track, and somebody's right ahead of you and you can't see the braking zone, and if you've got the driving line on, then move out of the racing line, move out of his dirty air so you can actually see the braking zone. That actually helps. And then make sure that you turn back onto the racing line so you can get the perfect line out of that corner, and also so you won't be able to T-bone him on the inside of that corner. Now we are moving on now to the to I don't really know. This is the curve of death. Look at that. Basically one of the curves of deaths in Formula 1 F1 2013. So at this stage is lap 13, nearing the halfway point of this race, and I've got options, and these options are at least now 5 laps old. Should be pitting in lap 14, and Codemasters really have to sort this out, this physics on the curbs, because some of the curbs, particularly in the tracks like Abu Dhabi and Bahrain, the curbs can literally kill you. So they really have to sort this out by 2014, otherwise it won't be fun anymore. So we are now on lap 14, the pits. Now this will be crucial for tyre strategy. I have to pit now. My plan is to pit now on lap 14. Look at that understeer, stupendous amount of understeer going out that hairpin, and luckily Dan is the same, but I think he's going for a longer stint. Me and him are on similar stints. I think he actually started the options and I started the primes, but as I do it, I lose Hamilton going into the pit lane. So he's going for a longer stint on the options, I believe it is, or on the primes, I don't really know, but I'm going on the primes, trying to make this stint as long as I can. I think I pit on lap 22, so then I do at least 6 laps on the options. So I'm now on the primes. So you could just see, I think it was Kudos, I think it was Alex. It was Alex from one of the main admin from the league, and I just stayed ahead of Wilshere, and that is crucial. That was probably the most crucial point. As less traffic as I could, just so we wouldn't have to wear the tyres extra bit more. Since I'm on brand new tyres, I pretty much sailed past, didn't really have that much pressure from Wilshere, but my target was to gain on Alex and to overtake him. Just try and make this lap as best as I can. So as we could skip on to lap 16 now, and I think Dan was expected to pit, I don't really know, but I'm gaining on Alex, and this was actually surprising. This was a straight line speed I had compared to Alex. No DRS. I used I think about a quarter of my gears, just slipstreaming, and look at that, completely sailed past him. I went on the inside. I used the same trick as I did before in Kieran, just blocked the inside line just so they wouldn't be able to pass me. And yeah, Dan was in the pits now. Ran a bit wide, and I think Dan is in the pits. No, he isn't in the pits. No, he wasn't. But Alex is still trying to go past me on this complex. I'm running a bit wide there, which compromises. He's looking at me, look at the inside. No, he isn't about the inside here. No, I've locked the inside, which meant that, yeah, I pretty much had no more pressure from him anymore in this part of the race. So as we now skip on to lap 22. Lap 22, this was my third and final pit stop for the options. Dan, as you can see, is around about 3 to 4 seconds behind me as I go into the pits. Now luckily I did not do Lewis Hamilton, cut the pit lane slightly there, but I've seen most F1 drivers, real F1 drivers do that, so I didn't really get penalised for that by the stewards. So I can see I'm in the pits now, waiting. There's my pit box, and we go. What primes for the options? My final pit stop. I had to do at least, what was that, 5 laps on the options, which should be possible. But Malaysia is one of those tracks which is very hard on its tyres because of its fast corners, its fast nature. Particularly this part of the track. This is sector 1. Actually, in fact, sector 1 and 2 are pretty hard, but I think sector 2 for me is the hardest on the tyres. So you have to make sure they have a good setup, which is not only fast but also quite light on its tyres. Now we are skipping on to lap 23, and as you can see on the bottom left, that Dan did go into the pit, so this is crucial. Did I make up enough time on my out lap so that I can still stay ahead of Dan as he goes into the pits for his lap? So did I perform the undercut here? He is in the pits, and yes I did. I knew, because I put Richfield on because I didn't want to risk anything, so I made sure it was a bit laggy there. Okay, so a bit happy you saw that. So I wanted to make sure that I did not lose any time at all from him. So I made sure that this was possible, and I just had to make sure that I stayed ahead of Dan. And look at that, fastest first sector of everyone so far in this race. So I was pretty chuffed right now. I was like, haha, Dan, on the mic in the race, and I was quite happy that I'm actually ahead of Dan and behind my old teammate. But as you can probably see as we go past the sector 2 line, that I was half a minute behind him. I was like, oh my god, but look at that. I was like 32 seconds, 33 seconds behind him, and that was catastrophic how fast he is. So I think he's having a better season than he did last year in the Caterham. But anyway, not about that. Kev 187 has won and yet another race. But as we go in the final corner, no disconnections, no retirements. GT Vavkin 101 crosses the line and finishes 4th place, the top 5 position, his first ever race in which he scored points. So as you can see on the standings, Kev 187 is the winner once again, the reigning world champion on 1st position. 2nd place is Front Row Racing DP Dave from the admin, the 2012 world champion, season 1 world champion, Jamie James 16, 3rd, 4th is GT Vapking 76, i.e. me, 5th is Dan Spell in 1986, 6th is Welshie, 7th is Kuros, 8th is Farthaba, 9th is my teammate Big Star, and 10th is Alex AR. So I don't really know what happened to my teammate. Actually, I think he had a penalty or 2 because of some incidents, and obviously knew, as you can see from the start, that he had a bit of a collision with Tino. But anyway, I was absolutely chuffed. Hopefully I can do these videos a bit more often. But anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This has been GT Falcon 101, and I shall see you later.